Alright, here's my review of Dungeon Crawler Carl. I'm gonna see if I can use the same method I do when I review my video games, but I don't know how well it'll translate to book reviews. I'm also low-key cosplaying as him because I'm wearing a jacket. I'm not in underwear because I wear boxer briefs, um, but I am wearing shorts and barefoot. So I might actually have a leather jacket that's kind of like this. And here we go. I did have a leather jacket. I can't believe I found it. Now I'm legit cosplaying as him without the underwear, but yeah. It's kind of hot. I don't think I'm going to do the whole it's like not breathable. But we'll see how long I go into this. I'm going to try to make it similar to my review for games. I don't know how well it'll translate, but I'll give it my best. First things first, expectations. I do not know how this book came into my radar, but just like anything else, when you start looking into something or when you start getting interested in something, you just tend to see it everywhere. So I went to Barnes and Noble one time. I saw the cover. They say don't judge a book by its cover, but come on, that's like first impression is always important. I remember buying this whenever I was also buying Red Rising, or I was looking into it when I was buying Red Rising, and I read the first couple of pages and I was hooked. Then I started reading it and I started to find out what light RPG or li lit RPG, I think that's what it's called. I realized what that I realized what that genre even is. So I'm guessing it's like a genre that I'm gonna like, and I'll look into reading different books of it. But for now, I'm sticking to the entire series because this is like an 8 book series, and I'm only on book one. The premise was good, the cover was good, and I'm guessing the hype around everything really, after I uh, paid attention to it, caught my attention. So my expectation was that it was going to be a not a genre bending, not anything groundbreaking, but a very very well written, entertaining like dungeon D&D kind of book. And it wasn't really a D&D per se. It had D&D elements, but it was more of an RPG kind of book. So for that, the expectation category, I'm giving it a 8 out of 10. And this is really cool. I just saw this right here. God damn it, donut. It's hand painted, 15 bucks. Honestly, that I probably get that if I could. But on to the next category. Next category I'm going to talk about is the premise. Now, the premise of this book is this dude named Carl, and he is straight up just a dude. He used to be in the Coast Guard. You get all of his background in the story. Read the book. But he breaks up with his girlfriend who has this show cat named Donut. Immediately love a cat. Love the cat. Um, when it's just a cat at first. Back when it's just a cat, and it changes. I'm not trying to do any spoilers. I don't know how far into this I'm going to get into spoilers, but you know what? Spoiler warning from here on out. If you haven't read the book, if you're not interested in the book, if you don't want spoilers, you know what? I'll probably keep it as spoiler free as much as I can because this is all just premise stuff. So, this dude named Carl used to be a Coast Guard vet, breaks up with his girlfriend because his girlfriend's cheating. Doesn't want any drama. Immediately, I relate. I don't want to deal with any drama either. The cat runs outside. He goes out to try to catch it, and all he's wearing is his underwear and a leather jacket. And that's when an alien invasion, that's apocalyptic level alien invasion, crushes every single building and car. And if you were inside it, you were screwed, you were dead. So it's a bit of an alien invasion, right? You're thinking, oh snap, this is going to be sci fi. But no, it turns out to be some sort of Dungeons and Dragons type of game that the aliens are televising. These gates come out from the floor that make you enter the dungeon. So Carl, being out in the cold, all he's wearing is a jacket and he's wearing his underwear and he has nowhere else to go. He goes in and now he's stuck in this Dungeons and Dragons style survival game. Like literally he can get killed. And even though he has these video game elements where he can use items, potions, and all this stuff, it's still very dangerous. So comparing this to Hunger Games or Ender's Game, I don't even know much about Ender's Game to compare it to, or even Squid Games, anything like that. It's downplaying it. The alien invasion apocalypse is upon you, and you have to survive for their entertainment. It's the whole world gets taken over. The whole world has to decide to play in these games, and the whole world is dwindling down by the thousands because they can't survive in this game. That's the premise. And here's going to be a little bit of a spoiler. I can't talk about how the premise of this book without talking about this. The cat talks. The cat ends up talking, which is awesome in and of itself. I am listening to the audiobook, so the audiobook does give this, not the next category, these two categories, the premise and the story. Premise is one category, story is going to be another. But as far as the premise, right, you have to survive the apocalypse, and it's a Dungeons and Dragons RPG video game style competition. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 for the premise. This is the best depiction, I feel like. I like these, like the first iteration of the art style, or I think is what the first iteration of the art style is, but you see how it's like a dungeon type of deal. It's, for me personally, when I'm reading books, it's hard to picture what the scenery kind of looks like without them explicitly giving you every single detail. So that's why I love looking at fan art and actual certified art. Also, he's barefoot because how he ended up there. I think at first he ended up with like pink Crocs, but then it was his ex-girlfriends. They don't fit him, so he gets rid of them. And another part of the premise is something in the book likes him being barefoot. But like I said about artwork, I mean, this is just way better than anything I would have pictured. Princess Donut, although I do picture Princess Donut as kind of like more of a white cat, I still like it. Like there's this manga that came out for it, and it is awesome for visualization. I think after this, when it comes out with all the other volumes, because the first volume of the manga only covers like half the book, I'm going to buy the full set. I might buy the full set. This is how much I like this. Just off of the first book, off of the first rip, I like it. Although this guy, the manga, they could have aged him up a little bit, but hey, it's an anime or it's a manga. I like it. I like how it looks. So now we're going to get into spoiler territory big time because I got the Dungeon Crawler Carl wiki pulled out here. So there's 47 chapters in the book with an epilogue, and for at least the hardcover books or this like physical copy of the book, in the back, there's additional backstage at the Pineapple Cabaret. Pineapple Cabaret. It's a short little bonus material. It's like a chapter long. I would say that's a chapter. And it surprisingly is more, I can't think of many other words, but I would say existential. If anybody has ever read that part or read the bonus material from the physical books, which I'm excited that the physical books have that because it's not available in the audiobook version or the Kindle version. I have all three. That's how I tend to read books, is I always want them to have it. I want to have access to it. But I think lately I've just been sticking to the physical books and the audiobooks because the audiobooks, yes, are top tier. So the story off rip, I feel like if Dune is a 10 out of 10 for me, Dune is a 10 out of 10. Mistborn, I would give it a 9. For the first book, nothing too crazy. 8. I feel, even though I love the story, I would give it an 8 out of 10. So far with the categories, expectations is 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. The premise is 10 out of 10, and the story is 8 out of 10. Just in case I didn't make that clear. I used to have infographics, but I'm just gonna go off the cuff. But sticking with the story, we will review, I guess, these chapters, these little one sentence review or recaps of the chapters. And I don't know what's my obsession with making everything or turning everything into a tier list, because I want to see which are my favorite chapters, but I'm just gonna go over them. Okay, this said it way better when it comes to the premise. We meet Carl and his ex-girlfriend's cat, Princess Donut. The world as we know it ends in the transformation. This is the terraforming of Earth. And the system AI notifies survivors that they can reclaim Earth from the Boring Corporation by conquering an 18-level world dungeon. The Boring Corporation is basically the freaking Amazon of the space. No, I'm not saying it like that, but they're a corporation. They're a business. They terraformed Earth to make a game show so that they can make money, because that's important to them. It's money is everywhere. And it's an 18-level world dungeon. I thought it was going to be like, okay, I can kind of see where it's going, where every level is going to be a book. But I'm like, they're going to really make 18 books? And considering that they made 8, and the first book covers the first 3 dungeons, kind of, or we're into the 3rd dungeon, I wouldn't be surprised if this series makes it to 12. Chapter 2, Carl and Donna find a dungeon entrance, enter the first floor, receive a ton of achievements, and kill a goblin so that Mordecai will let them into his tutorial guide hall. So back here, I'll talk about characters later on, but the system AI, the way I heard it in the audiobook, it's like very, very like it's a character in and of itself. Some of the descriptions that the AI gives, like the items that Carl finds in the world, in the dungeons, is pretty funny. It's very millennial humor, and I guess I'm a millennial. I'm like at the tail end of it. But yes, some of that humor does hit for me. Donna desecrates Mordecai's mother. It's the ashes. It's a cat. You leave ashes. It thinks it's like it treats the ashes as kitty litter. That's basically what happens. Carl explodes a murder dozer, and Mordecai introduces. So Carl undergoes the tutorial, unlocking his heads up display, his HUD, crawler menus, learns a little about the Syndicate and its favorite show, the Syndicate, and their favorite show, Dungeon Crawler World, and learns that 13 million humans have entered the dungeon, which means whatever amount of people were not or did not enter the dungeon, they're dead. And this may or may not include his ex, the owner of the cat, Princess Donut, the one that cheated on him, the one that they basically broke up with overnight, Beatrice. And already I'm getting the sense that might be related to, it sounds a little like this lovely book, Dante's Inferno, because of the girl Beatrice and entering, circles of hell, which you can argue that the dungeon is pretty hellish. And it's a guy that's at the end of his rope. I mean, if I'm looking too much into it, then my bad. But I see some similarities. Chapter 5, Carl opens his loot boxes, receives some useful items, some less useful items, and very interesting biscuit and no shoes. Again, this is just stuff that it's like hitting for me. Loot boxes, items that are not as useful, and the way that AI describes those items is funny to me. There's one in particular description later on in the later chapters where it says, oh, it's this and it's this, put 2 and 2 together, fuck you. And now, yeah, the no shoes is going to be a thing for Carl, unfortunately. I don't know, I legit thought eventually he would get, in this book, in the first book, that he would get shoes, or that he would get pants at least. But the way I bought up to book 5, and he's still fucking barefoot in the cover. So we'll see how that goes. Carl equips his new items, gets some useful stat buffs, a new powerful strike skill, and his first tattoo. I almost forgot about that tattoo. Donut makes herself heard. So he gives the biscuit to Donut, and that biscuit is a power-up to have Donut speak. And if I were me, I would love that biscuit, because to have this dude talk would be hilarious, right? All you would be asking for is snacks, and more snacks. You want a snack? Yeah, he wants a snack. Yeah, so when Donut starts talking, that's a game changer, or like a book changer. There we go. I made it a little bigger and maybe cut off some of the ads so it won't be so distracting. Chapter 7, let me see if I can remember her full title. Grand Champion Best... Now I had to look it up. Grand Champion, Breed Winner Regional, National Winner, Princess Donut, the Queen, and Chonk. That's who Donut is, and I better not forget it. She learns magic missiles, equips a crown with an ominous description, The royal court of Princess Donut is formally integrated, and Carl is the royal bodyguard or something like that. This doesn't really play into this book or in the first book too much, but I'm still waiting on what that ominous crown description, what the consequences of that is going to be. Chapter 8, certain party ground rules are established. Carl punches a bad llama in the throat to death and steals its meth. And Carl gains a new smush skill by stepping on scatterers. I love this wiki. I had to look up what they were, and they're just bugs. He steps on it, and okay, yes, I get it. So without the context, talking to this, like telling this to somebody else, that seems wild. There's meth llamas in the book. If that doesn't get you hooked, what will? 9. Carl and Donut enter a safe room run by Tally the Bobka Proctor.
Bobka Protector.
There it is. Tally the Bobka Protector. Donut receives the talisman of Slate Butterfly. Forgot what that was. And Carl receives a delicious... Oh, it's Hindu.
Murg Vindaloo.
Chicken Vindaloo. Okay. 10. After a good night's sleep and 3 plates of salmon, whatever plate, Carl and Donut reach level 5 by fighting scatterers, which are, I guess, big cockroaches. They find a large room, and Carl throws some goblin dynamite inside. Oh, and this is the first boss battle. I forgot our first boss battle, Carl and Donut versus the Hoarder. And that was morbid. So the thing about this boss battle, the Hoarder, it was like, you know, it's the Hoarder. They made it look like it was a big woman that looked kind of like the Baron from, I guess, Dune, but way bigger and nastier and nightmarishly self-aware. She knows what's going on. It's a regular person. So when the Earth got terraformed, I guess some of the people are used as they're used against their will as part of the game. And the Hoarder was just a cleaning lady, like a Mexican cleaning lady. So it was what she was yelling, pleading, like yelling for help. It was all in Spanish, so I was able to read that, and I was like, "Oh my god, that sucks." But she couldn't control herself. It's almost like I saw this post online about a zombie apocalypse, and it was through the POV of like what you thought at first was a soldier, and then it turns out that soldier is a zombie. They're still conscious in their mind, but they can't control their bodies. I was like, "Fuck that," and this reminded me of that, and it was like, whoa. All right, 12. Mordecai explains bosses and loot boxes are opened. Donut gets a stupid spell, and Carl gets a useful one that he can't learn yet. Carl does not receive pants. So I don't know why this is highlighted, and you can open up a link to it, but we'll see. Oh, a torch spell. It was a torch spell. Yeah, she gets a torch spell. She gets, I thought it was items, not spells. So she gets a whole bunch of torches. Like, cause I thought they were legit torches, like how you can use them in Minecraft, but I guess they're spells. Carl gets a useful one, which is Wisp armor spell, and I don't remember when he's able to use it. All right, the wiki is really useful, but it might contain spoilers later on. Okay. Why are pants highlighted here? Does he eventually get them or nah? I don't want to click it. 13. Carl and Donut investigate the corpse of Rebecca W., discuss the mysterious Frank Q, and complain about Cocker Spaniels. 14. The first episode of Dungeon Crawler World Earth. Oh my god. Dungeon Crawler World Earth airs. Carl and Donut see Lucia Marr for the first time, and Borant patches the hallway bathroom bug. I clicked on Lucia Marr, and it's the girl with the dogs, like the 2 Rottweilers. I saw an image. I didn't give myself enough time to process it. I exited out. So we'll see what happens here. with Lucia Marr for the first time, and Borant patches the hallway bathroom bug. So I don't know, something's up with the bathroom where you couldn't use it or something. And actually, you know what? We can click it. Oh, for the first 30 hours, if one crawler opens a restroom door, but a second crawler enters the room, the second crawler explodes in a mess of gore. For the first 60 hours, there is an equally dangerous but unexplained toilet suction issue. All right, 15. Donut learns how to use the chat feature, and she always uses all caps for whatever reason. She can control everything. I'm pretty sure she should be able to control it, but for whatever reason, she uses all caps. Carl's goblin pass tattoo and Donut's charisma allow the pair to charm Rory and Lorelei. And Carl agrees to trade some meth for the vehicle because meth is a hot commodity. Goblins are a bunch of meth goblins and stuff like that. But Rory and Lorelei, I did not expect them to be returning characters, so to speak. I haven't read the second book, or I am in the process of reading it. I'm in like chapter 5. But the bonus materials here in the physical copy, the backstage at the Pineapple Cabaret, or Cabaret, I keep messing up that word. That's like it's one of my favorite parts. Princess Donut gave Rory and Lorelei their names, and that allowed Rory to have this awakening where, like, wait, am I just an NPC? I feel like she's gonna have like some not morbid, I keep saying morbid, but like some kind of like this, she's gonna have some kind of free guy NPC awakening. 16, the Goblin Chopper. Okay, the Goblin Chopper is born, and the goblins head out, fight a meth war with the llamas, and Carl contemplates stealing everything that isn't nailed down. And low-key, this next chapter kind of sold me in like to the entire series. Like, I already have these 3, and book 2 is somewhere in my living room, but I'm going to read the entire series because I found this really funny. Carl steals everything that isn't nailed down and explodes a room full of babies. Okay, unintentionally. He didn't know. That's kind of like, that's one of those out of context things that sounds super, super bad. So the build up to that was that they're trying to kind of cheese the boss level and send in a bunch of explosives so they don't got to fight with it, because the first boss that they fought alone was super dangerous and it's almost killed them, I guess. But I got the audio pulled up here.
I pulled the detonator trigger from my inventory. Did you see him? Was there a giant goblin in there? I asked. Donut heaved for breath.
Yes, a huge, ugly goblin. My word, I do not like running. He was sitting down reading a book. Blow it good.
I jammed the button.
There sure were a lot of babies in there too.
Donut said in that last moment before the blast.
Before the blast, yeah. So Donut is just, I don't know. The whole thing was funny for me, and it was unintentional. He didn't know. God damn it, Donut is a staple in this book. He says that in the first thing in chapter 18 was, God damn it, Donut. Like, what the hell? Why didn't you disclose that information? And also now I'm just having the thought of maybe I'm looking too much into it, but that comes back, or I'm assuming is going to come back later on to haunt them because of this bonus material. Rory and Lorelei actually find out that they did this, or kind of find out that they did this. And the connection I feel like I'm reaching too much for is that this probably would have been a better premise for what they did in The Last of Us Part 2, where they come back, like it's the antagonist, maybe, for that, where a decision that the main character did in the first game comes back to bite them really bad in the second game. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but so far this book is doing a better job than The Last of Us Part 2. Yep, 18. Carl yells, God damn it, Donut, for the 4th time as they escape the burning goblin workshop. It's a short chapter. It is. It's like a page and a half long, front and back. But I feel like he did that. He did that for sure for comedic purposes. 19. After fighting rot stickers. Let's see what that is real quick. Huh. Don't remember that. The team locate a safe room and eat experience cookies. Carl's gets some unpleasant achievements. Donut gets a new spell and armored skirt. Both receive the Desperado Pass tattoo. Donut is appalled. Oh yeah, she gets a tattoo too, but I don't know if it's on her fur or what. Yep, that's the achievement. You monster achievement, and you get achievements like trophies in this book, and in the audiobook it has that distorted robot voice to it. It's like, you monster. And the insult to injury is just chef's kiss, cherry on top. 20. After another sleep, Carl and Donut meet Frank Q in the safe room. The second recap episode introduces, I'm gonna say, Helka, while Frank and Maggie attempt an ambush. Carl takes advantage of the NPC inventory system to plant a trap on a rat corpse before riding away. And again, spoilers for this entire part, because I'm going into the actual chapter by chapter later on. That comes back to bite them in a way that I was like, oh shit. Like the reveal was I don't know what to compare it to, but it was a good reveal. Carl's chopper pilot skill raises to level 5 as he and Donut, I forget how they got away from Frank and Maggie. I think they got frozen somehow, but I don't remember exactly how. I'd probably have to go back and read it. But Carl and Donut ride east for hours. 100 miles on, they find spray-painted sign and corpses killed by Brandon and Chris Andrews. Following the signs, they find a boss chamber with a stairwell within. Corpses? I doubt they're crawler corpses. I'm pretty sure they're talking about like mob corpses, but yeah. 22. Carl and Donut meet the good folks from Meadow Lark Elder Care Facility, Imani, Yolanda Martinez, and the Andrew brothers, plus the mysterious Agatha. And she is mysterious. That was surprising. For whatever reason, I didn't see that coming. And the reveal of Carl later on putting 2 and 2 together, I was having a hard time putting 2 and 2 together. Tales are exchanged, plans are formulated. 23. Carl and Donut spend the next few hours grinding rats and troglodytes. Troglodytes? How do they look? I'm curious. Oh, so they're kind of like juicer minions. I knew how the juicer looked like because some of the chapters have like a little illustration on them. But this is awesome. I like watching, like putting a face to the name of somebody that you've heard of, but you don't know what they look like. This is, I need to look up more in this wiki page. Covering up the Meadowlark signs and failing to find pants, finally they approach the boss chamber of the Troglodyte neighborhood. 24, they fight the juicer, and it's pretty much like that scene in Punisher where he's fighting people like in a gym. He just uses dumbbells, his fists, and all that stuff. A Donut is a little over dramatic when she gets hit. Good stuff. 25, Carl steals everything that isn't nailed down, and they head to the training guild. Donut learns Puddle Jumper spell, which I don't think she's used. I don't remember her using. And Carl finally gets something that protects his hands. Gods and bosses are discussed. Yeah, the gauntlets. And what about this? What is discussed? Oh, the deities. Gotcha. 26, the third recap episode introduces Le Movement. And then, boss battle. Brandon, Chris, Yolanda, Imani, Carl, Donut, and Agatha defeat the Ball of Swine using the Redoubt. Come on, of all the things I wish they had an illustration or they showed the Redoubt. That's something that I was wondering how it would look. I didn't know there was a graphic audio for this.
And I saw several broken arrow shafts.
That is cool, but it doesn't give me the Redoubt, or I think it says that it's something like this, but that's probably what it was. That's what it was rolling around. The ball of swine was rolling around. So they use that to defeat it, but they use like a ramp or something. Okay. 27, in the aftermath, Carl and Donut, now level 10, agree to continue helping Meadowlark. Agatha takes her leave, and Amani discards a dildo, but does Donut just what? Carl and Donut descend and are teleported away to a production trailer where they meet Lexus. You know, I was planning on reading all this and then going back and looking at all the characters, but I guess I'll look at the characters as I read just to get out of the way. I don't know why I was picturing like a robot, or kind of like I was picturing those blue aliens from Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, when Obi-Wan goes to that water planet and the alien greets him. That's who I was picturing for this, the assistant. She's smoking, like vaping. Audette's assistant and associate producer of Dungeon Crawler Carl, After Hours with Adette. Now that we're here, let's see what Adette looks like. Oh, that's her her suit. So I was like, she looks normal, but there's the crab, there's the boobage. That makes a lot more sense in my head. I was having a hard time picturing her. I like her nails right there. Okay, she makes a lot more sense now. Part 2, Chapter 28. Lexus and Donut discuss Dungeon Crawler Carl After Hours with Adette. Carl tries to steal everything that isn't nailed down but fails. We meet Audette, and Donut has the crowd eating out of her paws. 29. After the show, Audette and the Royal Court discuss the crawl. The Royal Court isn't it just the Royal? Yes, I thought the Royal Court was Carl and Donut, and Adette is talking with the Royal Court. I was confused because I thought Donut was the one talking. Race selection and the not so random nature of random loot. And Mordecai's indentureship. 30. On the second floor, Carl and Donut battle brindle grubs, danger dingoes, mind horrors. In a safe room, Carl gets an AI foot fetish achievement, granting a useful item, which I'm guessing is the pedicure stuff. Donut joins the dungeon Book of the Floor Club, getting the second chance spell. I was thinking we were going to get like a picture of the actual dungeon, how it looks like, but I'm assuming it's a lot like this, where it's like it looks like you're in the dungeon of a castle. That's mainly what I'm picturing for these floors. Okay, so here's the brindle grubs. Oh, I picture them more fat and round. Okay, that's a danger dingo. That's just from the book. Mind horror. Oh, okay. It's not. Yeah, it's pretty much what I pictured. This little piggy went to the market. I muttered to the ceiling. I don't know, was already opening her boxes. I wasn't going to tell her about this one. This is the follow-up. This little piggy went to the market. This is a lot of follow to the achievement and Smush Skull. Okay. It doesn't say what the achievement said. Oh, right here. This little piggy went to the market. Oh yeah, baby. You've killed more than 5 opponents during a boss battle using your bare feet. You're making daddy very, very happy. Reward. You've received a platinum shoebox. Oh man, making daddy happy. And yes, this is the pedicures kit. Oh my god. I think I have these tools, or the majority of these tools. I have the nail clippers. I have those. I don't have 2 of these. I think they're different. I think I have something like this. These are tweezers. That's like a pick. It's another pick or tweezers. I need to get a new one because I need to. Moving on. 31. Carl helps Ellie McGibbons into the safe room as the next episode tunnels. What? Oh, I almost got a spoiler. I need to be careful with clicking on this shit. Oh, I almost got a spoiler. Ellie McGibbons. Who is that? Oh, man. I need to look through. Yeah, Ellie McGibbons in a wheelchair into a storm shelter. Over 700,000 people died. A third of them remaining. The first floor claimed little woman. Da, 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 da. Thank you, honey, the woman said as I rolled her to the others. Can you put Divorce Court on the television? My Barry. Oh, it's one about Barry. Used to watch that show. It reminds me of him. Oh my god. So I clicked on it trying to remember who Ellie Gibbons was, and I thought it was the old lady that Carl catches when he does the reverse spell and he gets him into the safe room, but it's another one. It's only mentioned once in the book, in the first book, as far as in the Kindle version. That's why I like getting the Kindle version, because you could just look up where things are mentioned. But I didn't think about it, because at the end they can choose their race and their class, and for like their whole thing about this elderly people is that, oh my god, they're so weak, we won't be able to help them, and the why they're old and senile caused them to have to face with the rage elemental. But had they all made it to the point where they can change their race, they can change their race to something that's youthful and lives longer, and that is mind-blowing. That's something that I didn't think of at all. That is ah that that's like a double-edged sword with me, like, looking at this, because that was a spoiler, but I don't mind it. I don't know why it says next episode tunnels, but I guess airs. The last boss fight is shown, and Donna gets her first followers. An announcement warns of rage elementals, and Brandon says Meadow Lark will descend into the third floor as soon as possible. Did they ever mention that they were going to have them pick another race and that'll be beneficial? 32. Many unvaccinated true.
Unvaccinated chloroshons.
Okay, why'd you say it so slow? Die as Donut and Carl practice with second chance and slingshot. Donut contemplates becoming a rev up consultant. Oh, that pyramid scheme. And Carl creates Carl's Juggo Boom after being infected with the taint. Yeah, he got infected and they cleared it up somehow. Crack Karen clone. Carl and Donut drink a blended corpse. Yeah, this is a lot of detail in the book that I'm skipping over. And this is already getting close to 37 minutes. It's getting close to like I try not to keep this over an hour. But I'm making some steady I'm covering some ground. But yes, they drink a blended corpse of a little fairy. Buzzed debuff. They get rid of, that's how they get rid of the taint. Donut tells Carl she loves him almost as much as Bee and Ferdinand. It's highlighted. I want to click that because Carl doesn't know who that is. And if it's highlighted, Bee is not highlighted. Beatrice is not highlighted, so I'm surprised. But Ferdinand is. We'll see what's up with that. You want to click it so hard. Carl causes an explosion and shields Donut with his body. 35. With the boss dead and Carl dying, Donut drags him to safety. They visit Mordecai, now a bungaboo, and talk about Audette and other things. Carl and Donut both get useful items. Zev makes an appearance. Alright, so this is a bugaboo, because Mordecai is like a shifter kind of person. Enhanced big boy boxers. This is where he gets the boxers. So I thought he had those boxers the entire time, but I guess he had just a plain regular boxers. There are some workout shorts that are hearts like this. I'm probably gonna get them. Okay, my browser crapped up a little bit, but the big boy shorts or big boy boxers. Yeah, this is where I left off. I might buy a pair. Donut got the enchanted fur brush of that. And we get introduced to Zev, and this is amazing. I love Zev. I could not picture Zev properly. They just said she was like a fish in like armor. So I was like, I was picturing some kind of like what's that? Subnautica kind of fish. But if Zev looks like Stitch, I'm in love with her. Not in love, but like obsessed with her, like when you get a new pet. Hopefully this matches over here. Okay. 36. Carl meets his first Borant dungeon admin and tries to be civil. Zev explains crawler participation on syndicate shows. Donut Mordecai and Zev bond over Gossip Girl. Brindle grubs start to become an issue as the immediate area hits the spawn limit. Carl and Donut join back up with Meadowlark and they make their way to the stairs. So that's what they're saying the stairs looks like. Okay. Ellie flirts with Carl and Jack whips it out in the hallway and starts peeing in the hallway. So Jack pees. The Boring Company made it a whole, like, a rule where, like, hey, a rage elemental is going to be summoned if you pee anywhere in the hallway, because apparently people going in the bathroom in the hallway was an issue. So yeah, he does that. I think Zev kind of alerts Carl about it, so that she gets a little bit in trouble for that, but nothing too crazy. So Jack dies, so I don't think this would be an issue if I look him up. Yeah, okay. Yolanda kills Jack and then dies trying to protect Randall from the Rage Elemental. Let's see what this Rage Elemental looks like. Oh, that's badass. That's cool. Imani, Chris, and Brandon get the residents into a safe room as gravity reverses and Carl saves Ellie. Yeah, Ellie. Yeah, Ellie Gibbons. So it is the same person I was thinking about. So, okay. Yeah, so Carl does save her from the reverse gravity trap. 39, the survivors watch the recap as the Rage Elemental rages on. Carl and Donut get scratch cards. The rules change to prevent crawlers staying in safe room until the collapse. So I didn't know that they changed it so the way they can't just stay in the safe room, so they have to be walking around. 40. Carl finishes building the bomb chicken. Bomb chicken? And then, with everyone in the universe watching, one man and his ex-girlfriend's cat take the drive of a lifetime. Several bombs, obstacles, and significant exploit later, the Rage Elemental is no more. So it's not the bomb chicken, it's the MOAB, Mother of All Bombs. That's something I wish I was
The dreams that you.
The Mother of All Bombs was something that I wish I would be able to see an illustration of. It's not a bomb chicken. 41, 36 Meadowlark residents and 3 members of staff descend into the 3rd floor. I know it's 36 people. Carl and Donut hunt kobolds and dingoes before entering a safe room and acquiring entertaining toast. Oh, the toast. Munkta makes contact and the crawlers are teleported. So that's kind of what, so Zev got in trouble, so I guess she was on timeout for whatever her job is, and Munkta was like her replacement, her substitute teacher, so to speak. Okay, now I remember the kobolds. They're like these, like, rocket raccoon but chihuahua type people. Now this is a sticker that I want to buy. From Foam Brains, I'm gonna see if I can get something like that out of a sticker. But yeah, I found it in the book. Here's a description. Mana toast. This is toast. It refills your mana. That's it. Nothing more. Fuck you. Oh, I was actually hungry. But yes, that description, I heard the audio book version of it, and it is way funnier.
Smelled it. I examined its properties.
Mana toast. This is toast. It refills your mana. That's it. Nothing more. Fuck you.
Well, that was unnecessary.
I love it. All right, so I don't think we get any visual art for Munkta. 42. Glurp glurp. It's Death Watch Extreme Dungeon Mayhem. Li Jun and Shang are bullied by the maestro, and Carl gambles on his importance to help them. Gambles on how important he is to help them out. Their boss and Li Jun's sister, Li Na, escape the brindled Vespas they're facing. And already with the Maestro and Extreme Death Watch, I'm getting like Andrew Tate kind of vibes. Glurp, glurp. Nothing for the Maestro as of yet. I clicked on Lee Jun's name real quick, but I didn't look at anything. But considering that they have like highlighted names, I don't want, and even Lee Na has highlighted names. I don't want any spoilers potentially, but let's look at the Maestro. I did not picture him being furry, and I pictured him being way fatter. Pictured him kind of like the Rocksteady, Bebop or Rocksteady, whichever the pig one is. That's how I pictured him. 34, the Maestro talks about the 9th floor. Carl watches as Yvette. Oh, Yvette is caught in his trap and then killed by her mother. Maggie gains a legendary skill potion of Find Crawler. Yeah, that part in the book was pretty fucked up and confusing. So Frank and Maggie were the parents of Yvette. And why is Yvette? Because she's a character, right? She's a semi-important. It's highlighted, so there's more information on her. If I'm looking too much into it, which I tend to do, I'm theorizing that she isn't actually dead. That this is like a trick. Somehow. And Frank Q it doesn't have much of a poker face, so that's why he just looked down the whole time. But it could be that Maggie is just... I want to see what that explanation was for why Maggie did that. Another recap: Le Movement is wiped out, and the number of crawlers goes under 1 million. Donut shares her worries about the 9th floor. Oh, so around the 9th floor, I guess somebody told Donut and Carl that they have to make a decision and whether or not it would be beneficial for Carl to stay with Donut, considering her class or the crown or her standing or whatever party she's in. But they have a tender moment. I think it's in this chapter where it's like, no, we're together. No, it's later on. Zev arrives with news about the pork boy Snick, and there's a link to it. I'm clicking it. Hang on. Oh my God, my naughty little piggy. Oh my. Yep, that's an accurate description on fan art. 45, Carl and Donut find the Cobalt Boss chamber and feed some cage dingoes. That was actually nice. That reminded me of a Resident Evil 4 where you can free a dog and then it'll help you later on, preventing them from joining the boss battle on Ralph the Gerbil. Carl realizes that he's going to have to pay the daddy tax. And he pays the daddy tax. This was actually really funny. Oh my God. He pays the daddy tax by stomping with his bare foot. He's always barefoot. With stomping on the gerbil, killing it. And the dungeon groans and like has a little earthquake, which I don't know exactly what that would entail, but you can kind of assume what that would entail. Anyway, 46, the dungeon, it says it right there. The dungeon groans in response to Ralph's squishy demise. Carl and Donut discover the reward room, which I liked. That little segment where, hey, you could pick whatever a pet you want, and then they picked the dinosaur. Of course, you're going to pick the dinosaur. Mongo joins the royal court, and Donut gets chomped on the nose. Donut gets chomped on the nose several more times. Mongo is tamed with hours to spare. Carl unlocks inventory history. And that is where this whole like revelation of fucking Agatha sums up with Agatha. And I'm excited to find out. And I think the tender moment that they have together is about Mongo, and it might be in the second book. And the royal court descends to the 3rd floor. Epilogue. Carl and Donut appear on Odette's show and talk about Pork Boy, Mongo, race selection, and Valte. Not 100%. What is it? I want to click it. All right, here we go. Oh, yes. It's another corporation that talks about the weapons that Agatha had. Valte Corporation. It's another corporation. And finally, Odette gives Donut one last bit of advice about class selection, and it comes into play in the next book, pretty much the beginning of the next book. I already got to that part. But my question is why in the second book would you do that? But anyway, that's the second book. This is the first book. So the story I'm still sticking with is the 8 out of 10. Now, the next category, because I'm trying to get 5 categories total, and then I'll tally up the prices, the numbers, and then give a final score at the end. So far, my expectations for the book was 8 out of 10. Expectations and were those expectations met? The premise, which is different than the story, is a 10 out of 10. The premise is what hooks you in. 10 out of 10. I love it. The story, however, with everything how it goes, I'm tempted to put an 8.5 actually out of 10 instead of just the 8 out of 10. Characters will get an 7.8 out of 10. Feels fair because there are entertaining characters, and I want to get out of that hole of having my 8 as my standard ranking for some of these. So a 7.7. 7.5. You know what? I need to be strict with myself. 7.5 for the characters. It's the first book, and I feel like more characters are going to be popping up that I will like more than the characters that show up. Because a lot of them, other than Carl and Donut, and now Mongo kinda... Well, no, not Mongo. Mongo's in the second book. Donut and Carl and Mordecai are basically the main characters. Not main characters, but there's not a lot of depth to a lot of these characters. So Agatha coming up at the end, we get introduced to everybody. So that's why I'm keeping it as a 7.5. Now that I think about it more, I'm tempted to go lower and do a 7.7 out of 5 for the character. Fuck it. We're doing 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 for the characters. Because this is just introductions. It's just introductions to everybody. Obviously, Carl and Donut are top tier characters, but these are a lot of these characters that do get introduced are just introductions, and I'm trying to be strict about it on how important the characters are and how they're introduced and how well they're fleshed out. Baseline, 7 out of 10. It could change. Now, my rating is a little different than the video game. Is my personal rating. What would I rate it? As the first book, and also for what it is. This is a literary RPG. I'm trying to keep it as like the ranking for what it is versus my personal ranking, because this whole thing is my personal ranking. So ranking for what it is. I'm trying to be fair. It's my first introduction to a lit RPG. And if it's my first introduction to a lit RPG, I don't know if it ruined other lit RPGs, because this is a 9 out of 10 for me. I can't justify giving it a 10 out of 10 because I haven't read other lit RPGs. But for this being my first one, I'm giving it a 9. Like I'm a lot of the other lit RPGs are gonna, if I do pick up another lit RPG, has some big shoes to fill. So the total score with an 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10, 7 out of 10, and 9 out of 10. That is expectations, 8 out of 10, premise, 10 out of 10, story, 8.5 out of 10, characters, 7 out of 10, my rating, or the rating for what it is, a lit RPG, 9 out of 10. That tallies up to a 42.5 times 2 is an 85 out of 100. Dungeon Crawler Carl, Book 1 by Matt Dinniman, gets a solid 85%. And in my opinion, that actually works out very, very well. Like, I have no arguments, no notes. Like, the whole video was my notes, essentially. And if I had sat down and rattled my brain and had to go with a score out of 100 right out of the gate, I would think about it, and that feels like the score that I would come up with. So that's why I like that 5 category system. But that is it for Dungeon Crawler Carl. Anybody watching, hope you enjoyed. Hope you have a good one. And I'll see you in the next one.